So this is my first pair of boots from Trickers. Came over from England, gave me heart attacks all the way through because DHL kept changing the delivery address. But let's dive into it. G'day, welcome back to Bootlosophy, and my name is Take. I acknowledge that I am on Wajib Nunga Buja. Now, this is my first pair of Trickers boots, and being the first pair, I bought a Stow boot on their recent factory sale. I paid 540 Australian dollars for it, when this is originally on firsts at about 1,250, I think it's nearly 1,300 Australian dollars, so it was a fantastic sale. But DHL, I gave Trickers my PO box number, which they duly put in. DHL picked it up from them and then started sending me messages that they couldn't deliver it to the PO box. So I had to give them physical addresses, which they did not acknowledge, and it went backwards and forwards with PO boxes, the wrong postcodes, 3 or 4 times before finally I was able to reach a human being who was able to change the delivery address to a physical one. So it was a traumatic experience, and of course those of you who buy boots online will also know there's the second traumatic experience coming as to whether or not they're going to fit. Before I bought them, I double checked the sizing with my friend Ellie from the Heritage Tribute on Instagram, because he has a couple of pairs of Trickers and he knows their sizes, and he recommended I go true to size, my UK size of 7.5. So Ellie, I'm holding you to this. If we're ready, let's go into it. Right, let's get into it. Pocket knife made in Manjimup down south by a local artist. I'm not 100% sure how to open this, but I think this opens from the side panels. Yep, and of course, like everything else, I've got it upside down. Right, turn it the right way up, see if it slides out, and I'll almost guarantee a nice blue Trickers box. So you get a nice blue Trickers box. I've had a couple of these when I bought boots from Ellie that were not Trickers, that he sent me using his spare Trickers boxes, so I knew what to expect. On one side, here we are, is the other details. Men's Whiskey Hydro Nubuck Brogue boots, size 7.5, fitting S, not sure what that means, and it's a style number, Dainite sole. So let's open this up. Not quite sure what this is. I see it's a delivery form for faults. Returns must be sent, etc., etc. Invoice. You get a Trickers card booklet, Trickers booklet, aftercare, how to care for your Trickers, their heritage and quality, in various languages. You get a cloth covering, and that's the Hydro Nubuck, which I'll talk about in a minute. But let's get the goodies out. So you get a cloth covering, which I think by the feel of it, you can probably use as a polishing cloth. Nicely labeled with Trickers. You get 2 Trickers boot bags with their symbol on it, and of course the royal warrant by appointment to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. That was Prince Charles before he became king. So he probably hasn't issued his royal warrant as His Majesty yet, and they're still reverting to the 3 feathers of the Prince of Wales. And I'll get both boots out and we'll take a look at them. So this is the Stow boot, the famous Stow boot, but I did not buy the famous one in smooth Acorn leather, which you'll all have seen. This is a leather that's called Hydro Nubuck. So this is Nubuck leather. It's in 2 sort of grains. There's a pebbly grain here and a smoother grain across the vamp and the toe and heel counter pieces, and then a sort of pebbly one on the quarters. Now Nubuck is actually a top grain leather. It's not a split leather like suede. They take the top grain leather and then they sand it and buff it until it raises a little velvety, I'm not even going to call it a nap, it's velvety fibers really, and it feels velvety to the touch. It's very soft, it actually feels very thin, it's fully lined as you can see. And this Hydro Nubuck is from Charles F. Stead, and in the tanning, various chemicals are put into it. I'm not sure they're oils and waxes because it does not feel waxy nor oily, but it's treated in such a way that it's waterproof and water beads right off. And you know that I'm going to test that. It's a Brogue boot, so it's an English country boot for tramping around in the country. And the Brogue refers to these holes cut into it, which, as you probably know, was originally cut into the leather so that when the wearer trekked across a wet, marshy land, bog, the water that accumulated in the boot was able to drain out and didn't just keep filling up. And it's also got the edges of it are pinked. That's done with a pinking shears, I guess, similar to what you do in knitting, sewing, I beg your pardon, so pinked across. So the detail, including the toe rows, very precise. It's beautifully cut. And nowadays, of course, it's not a proper hole that goes all the way through. Cloth pull tab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shiny brass eyelets, no speed hooks. They're just pressed through at the back, so it doesn't feel particularly rough, but it's going to scratch the tongue a little bit. The tongue is surprisingly not gusseted. Well, I'm not a fan of that because my foot, the way my bone structure works, or whatever it is, the way I walk, it tends to do that. So I'm going to have to be careful and maybe train it to stay up. I've heard that what you can do is fold the tongue and train it with a ridge in the middle, and that keeps it straight. I don't know if that's true or not. The Hydro Nubuck just feels fantastic. It's just a soft, feathery feel. It actually feels quite thin, although if you look from the sides, it's not particularly. It's maybe, what would you say, about 2.5, nearly 3 millimeters of that, and then I'd say a 1 millimeter thick, very soft lining leather. It is fully lined in the vamp as well as in the shaft. A stamp with the design, I think, and the sizing. It has a storm welt, although I believe this is from the brand Barbour, B-A-R-B-O-U-R. So I think this is called a Barbour welt. This lipped edge here is actually carved into the welt, and it's not like split open like a split reverse welt. The stitching on the welt looks really good, I think. Nice big thick stitches, and then it gets a little bit thinner here, but very consistent in size. 360-degree welt goes all the way around the boot, around the back as well. The welt joint is visible, but it's nearly invisible, so not a bad job. This little bit of marking here is, I think, a wheel that they run through to press it tight. And it's only across the back of it, as you can see. 1, 2, 3 heel stacks. One of them is cut down a little bit to create a slight wedge, and then it's topped with Dainite, and that's a Dainite sole. It's not the usual black, it's a sort of chocolate brown. Really nice. Nice thick laces. And the last, as you can see, is quite a rounded last, so I'm going to like putting that on, and hopefully the length is right because that's going to be quite comfortable. Taking a look at the other boot. I'm looking at the stitching in the uppers this time. They're very clean, as you can see. Really consistent. That's almost a decorative stitch, I guess. This piece here, a double stitch on both sides of the brogue. Same across the wings of the brogue. Again, the stitch on the welt is very clean, Very nicely done. It's interesting. I wasn't expecting this sort of pebbly elephant skin approach in the quarters, because obviously it's quite flat along here and there. There is some look at the grain, but not in the texture as up there. And clearly when they pull that piece tight in the lasting, a lot of it might disappear. That's a very interesting surface. So you've got the heel counters, that little pucker to make it curve down, and this little piece here to cover the seam. Strengthened stitching for the pull tab. I do like the shape of this. It not only curves in under your heel, but it sort of curves, if I'm holding it right, it also curves around your heel to cup it. And some bootmakers sort of have it straight up and down, and gradually with wear you get that shape that cups it. Okay, I'm excited. Let's try these on, and fingers crossed for the size. Okay, so here is the moment of truth that all boot nerds who buy online worry about, that first fitting. Oh, and I had nothing to worry about. So definitely in trickers, go true to size. I'm a UK 7.5, which is equivalent to a US 8.5. But in most of my US heritage boots, I wear a US 8 in D width, which is regular average width. In these, I take a UK 7.5, and it's in their S width, whatever that means. The problem with UK sizing is they might agree on the size, 7.5, but they do have strange letters for their widths. So R.M. Williams, which is UK sized, call their mid-width a G, as does, I think, Grenson. But others start with Fs and S's and all sorts of weird things. So you do have to ask if you're buying English. The no speed hook design is slightly problematic sometimes because in tying your laces you kind of have to undo the last couple of eyelets. So there you go, they fit really well, the 7.5. It's nice and wide, so I think the last really fits the shape of my foot, which is, as I said, US terms 8.5 D width, but very much urging itself into an E. And I tend to have a high volume across the ball of my foot. But this fits really well. And apart from that, Nubuck is a reasonably loose grain leather because you've taken off the shiny surface by sanding it off. It's not as stretchy as suede, but it's stretchy enough. I'll roll my cuffs up. You know I don't do this normally, but you want to see the boot, not my pant legs. The sole construction feels reasonably firm. I mean, you have that thickness of the rubber, Dainite. Then you have a, not particularly thick midsole. Then you have the Barbour welt, and obviously inside you've got a leather insole. So there's enough sort of layers of leather there to make that bending not that easy. So I will need to do a little bit of breaking in. The feel of it when I'm walking is it's quite comfortable, although I can feel the hardness of the insole under my feet. So I don't know, do I put a thin foam layer in there, or do I let the layers of leather do its work? Let's see how it fits in. So Ellie, the Heritage Tribute, you got the sizing recommendation just right. Thank you for that. Yes, I'm loving to try these out on the road. I think I'll be wearing these as smart casual, but I might, chance myself and go for a nice walk on a not particularly rocky sort of forest path. That's what they're called country boots for, I guess. the shape is also quite good. It's round-toed without being particularly round. And it has enough almond in it to look like quite a nice dressy design. So there you go. I got trickers because I wanted to try trickers, but I decided against the usual Acorn which everybody else has. The whiskey Hydro Nubuck was on sale, half price, and I thought, what the hell, let me pull the trigger. All right, guys, let's sum up. So we'll wrap it up. A summary of my thoughts. I like the fit, so I think the last agrees with me. That's the foot-shaped mold that they build the boot over, so it looks the way it looks. I think it agrees with me in certainly my feet terms. It will need a bit of subtle breaking in because it's quite stiff in the sole, and I think that's because it's got the Dainite, the midsole, the leather insole, and then you've got the Barbour welt as well. So all of that forms like quite a thick thing to get around. Certainly the feel of it around my foot is really good. I'm a bit suspicious of the ungusseted tongue. We're going to have to see how that goes. I would hate to use a chisel to punch a couple of lace places in the tongue to keep them there. I'd hate to do that because it's such a lovely feel to that leather. Let me use it for a little while. I'll find out more about it and then I'll bring you the details. But of course, this is from Trickers, which is based in Northampton in the UK, famous for their boots. And I'll bring you a full review showing you all the materials and give you a history of the brand and so on. And then in a few months after that, maybe a year or so after that, I'll tell you about how it wears. How I intend to wear it, I think, is smart casual. I'm not necessarily going to go out field walking in these because they look so good, but who knows, I might. I've done worse. So we'll see how they stand up to that treatment. So you know what to do if you like this video. Click on like and make sure you subscribe so you're not missing out on any other boot reviews or gear reviews related to boots that I'm going to bring out. Stay tuned. Click on like, click on subscribe. Take care out there, and I'll see you next week.